Absolutely. So make sure you guys are following Goat Climb and Cryo, and obviously make sure you're following Overheard in Chicago, and check out the show notes because we're going to be getting...
And Chicago Cafe Racer, so we can get it in one more time.
One more time.
Yeah.
At Chicago Cafe Racer, at Menage-A-Podcast, at TJ's Posty Photography. Follow me literally everywhere.
Christ.
I've got Professor Tiny Dog. It's my dog. Follow my dog. All the things.
Yep. You have like
Should I tell my Finstas? I've got 9 Instagrams. I am my own personal engagement pod.
You really are. But that's my point was like, how was I supposed to know that I wasn't following you when you show up in 10 different fucking ways in my newsfeed? How would I know? Seriously. It's like you're everywhere. Whatever.
You wake up in the morning like, hi, Jenna. You go to the bathroom, I pop out of the shower. Hi, Jenna.
Seriously, there's like only so much TJ I can handle in
Bullshit.
one day. Honestly, it's TJ all day, every day.
You subscribe. This is premium content, goddammit.
Okay. All right. Whatever.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Menage-A-Pod, the hysterical comedy podcast about sex, dating, relationships, and everything in between. I'm TJ, and as always, I'm joined by some random joke that's not even that funny.
That you're afraid of, apparently.
I'm terrified of you.
I know.
I'm
so mean to you, aren't I?
That's going to be my mood for 2020, is that I'm just petrified of you.
I know.
I'm
sorry.
Do you take a particular joy in knowing I live in fear?
You know what? I'm okay with that because I feel like it gives me power. And you know how much I love power.
You do love power.
Yeah. So I forgot to wear my crown today, but you get it.
Yeah. I mean, when I look at you...
You are drinking out of royal wedding commemorative cups, so that feels appropriate.
Yeah. So our guest and myself are currently drinking coffee out of Prince William and Catherine commemorative a wedding
Sure
mugs.
Are. You're welcome.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
All right.
Historical and tacky.
It's incredible.
That's how I roll.
And topical. All right, guys. Well, before we jump into the episode, I want to do what I always do, get on your nerves, bug you for a second. I want to make sure... No, we have a lot of new listeners lately. Been definitely seeing some great action on the charts. So keep subscribing, keep downloading. But you want to make sure if you're listening on Apple Podcasts that you write us a review. How important is it, Jenna?
Super important.
Super
important. But I don't know why.
Unnamed guest. How important is it?
It is so goddamn important.
That is our testimonial from unnamed guest number 1. He says it is so fucking important. So make sure that you go out to Apple Podcasts, you write reviews, and you're following us on Instagram at Menage-A-Podcast.
Yep.
Sweet. Awesome. Do those things. What's going on, G? Anything with you?
No, not really. No, I don't know why. This week was so busy with work. I didn't do anything.
It's probably for the best. We got a lot going on in podcast world. So why don't we cut the personal stuff short for now and jump into what's going on in podcast world? So super cool news. I don't know if people who follow us on social media, we got the most random mention on Cosmo UK website for like best dating and cuffing season memes.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
That was really exciting though. It's kind of fun.
That is exciting.
It was. And so I was like looking up Google Analytics. That made me like go down the rabbit hole this morning of seeing like how people landed our page.
Yeah.
And there was like 700 people that got to it from that link. So
for real?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Which is a fairly decent amount of unique hits.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Do we have like a how'd you find that? Do you have like a
Google
alert?
No, it's just set up like if you have a website. I mean, this is too in the weeds. I'm going to edit this shit out. Who cares? But you can just look up the stats for like how people convert to the page that you're looking at the analytics on, so you can see where they come from.
We should set up a Google alert. When I was doing the Huffington Post stuff, like anytime anyone would quote me, it would just pop up.
Yeah, I have that set up.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't care about the podcast. I just want to know what people are posting about me.
You should keep that in there because everyone's like, yeah, we know.
Yeah,
you
for
think
sure.
You're an influencer.
I don't think I'm an influencer.
You are an influencer?
No, I'm not.
Do you know what else we noticed yesterday?
What's that?
This is topical.
Oh, God.
That apparently TJ wasn't following me on Instagram.
Whoa.
Oh, man, but you weren't following me either.
Yes, I am.
You were not. You had to follow me yesterday.
Well, then what the fuck am I? That's not true. I did not.
Yes, you did.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Your shit comes up in my stuff all the time.
It does not. You are a goddamn dirty pirate hooker, guys. We are hashing out. We are hashing out house business right here.
Actually, do you know what's funny? Maybe not, but like, your page isn't private, so I would still see your stuff because I would
follow me at Chicago Cafe Racer. It's not private. Check me out.
I
want to punch you in the face.
15
hours ago, Jenna Grish started following you.
That's so weird. How is that happening? happened?
Called
It
out.
must have been from
She's
like
like, I
2
don't
years
remember.
ago when I first blocked you and was like, fuck this dick. And then
If I had a dime for every time
Go
I've been
from
blocked.
blocking him to making a podcast.
It's a
Podcast
long
with me.
story.
Yeah.
He
Dude,
used to be a jerk.
we've been, it's been a roller coaster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and now we're friends. It's great.
Yeah. So,
And I haven't blocked you in 2 years. I feel solid, right?
you know, is
That
this
feels like a
guys, I'm going to
See,
make,
I'm not that mean.
I'm going to make an admission
also, if
right
they
now.
Knew why you?
Do you
they
know
would
why?
agree.
Do you know why you weren't following me?
Why did you block me?
I just blocked you and unblocked you, knowing that it would make us both unfollow each other.
No, you didn't.
I did it like 3 months ago. And you never noticed.
Oh well, what does that tell you about the way I feel about you? Oh, I'm just kidding. I love you. I'm kidding.
So yeah, some other big news, Jenna. I think we're both pretty excited about. Do you want to talk about it, or should I?
You can start it, but I want to add to it because I'm okay. Fine, I'll do it.
Okay, do it.
So basically, the Overheard in Chicago girls, which we all know we love and have had on the podcast.
Like, I love them in every way you can love them.
I
if you've seen
know
them.
you do.
I love them.
I know you do. And I just love them because they're good. They're really great women. And I just think they're good people, right? And like ever since we've met them, they've been super helpful with us building our brand and like always asking us to join in with stuff, like events that they do. And I think we said on the last episode, like we are going to take them up on these more often now because we're going to be more fun in 2020.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
was always fun.
Debatable.
Okay.
Fair.
Fair.
So anyway, we're going to help them host a speed dating event.
Yes.
At the end of the month.
Where? Tell us a little bit more
Well,
about.
you've got to add that part in because
Okay, so this speed
cryo.
dating event, here are the deets, and you guys should come check it out if you want to meet Jenna and myself, if you want to meet Liz and Tina from Overheard in Chicago,
or have a date.
if you want to meet a cool date
Yeah.
and have a fun time. So this is
We'll get you drunk.
get them drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So this can be a speed dating event. It is on January 25th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Goat Climb and Cryo on 300 West Ontario Street in Chicago. So this is like kind of like a gym, health club, yoga studio. They do goat yoga, but they also have like this social.
They don't do goat yoga,
They
do they?
They do.
That's awesome.
So they also have like
I'm
this
in.
social room, and the social room is where they're going to be doing the speed dating event. We're kind of still working out the final details of what that's going to look like and what Jenna and myself's role in that's going to be. But right now it looks like maybe kind of hosting, emceeing it,
Yeah.
and then
I have to come up with some jokes.
yeah,
Oh,
we're going to
good
do some
Lord
writing
almighty.
session. Today's guest is really funny. He doesn't realize
Yeah,
that next
maybe
couple
you can
guests are
write our
helping
jokes
us
for
writing
us.
some
Well,
jokes.
it's fine. It's fine.
That's fine.
We'll get them.
Awesome.
We'll get them from people who know what they're doing. It's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. And then we're also going to be just interviewing people as they go through and, talking about their experience with the speed dating event and just their experience dating and overall and kind of making some cool content. So I'm really excited about it.
I'm really excited about it. And I can't thank them enough for inviting us to do this with them. That was super nice of them to think of us.
Absolutely. So make sure you guys are following Goat Climb and Cryo, and obviously make sure you're following Overheard in Chicago, and check out the show notes because we're going to be
And
getting
Chicago Cafe Racer, so we can get it in one more time.
one more time
Yeah.
at Chicago Cafe Racer, at Menage-A-Pod Podcast, at TJ's Posty Photography. Follow me literally everywhere.
Christ.
I've got Professor Tiny Dog. It's my
I
dog.
know,
Follow my
you have
dog. All
everything.
the things.
Yep, you have like
Should I
maybe
tell my
that's why-
Finstas? I've got 9
maybe-
Instagrams.
well,
I
that's
am my
what I was
own
gonna say.
personal engagement pod.
You really are, but that's my point. Was like, how was I supposed to know that I wasn't following you when you show up in 10 different fucking ways in my newsfeed? How would I know? Seriously, it's like you're everywhere. Whatever.
You wake up
It's
in the
like
morning like, hi, Jenna. You go to the bathroom, I pop out of the shower. Hi, Jenna.
Seriously, there's like only so much TJ I can handle in one day.
Bullshit.
Honestly, it's TJ all day, every day.
Jesus Christ. This is premium content, goddammit.
Okay, all right, whatever.
All right,
Anyway,
yeah.
super excited about it. Can't wait. We'll have more detail. Jesus, we're already off the rails. We'll have more details as they unfold. We've got like a big brainstorm coming up. So we'll keep you guys posted, but we hope that you can make it. Come out, see us, say hi, find a date, have a
Eventbrite
drink.
link will be in the show notes.
Yep. Bring your best, I don't know,
Ladies
open
and guys,
line.
we want everybody to come
Yeah.
out. I'm going to be just sliding into random DMs to get people to come to the event.
Honestly, the best part
Dan,
of this,
you want to come to the event, buddy?
Yeah, I'll come.
Okay.
the best part of this, and you might edit this out, but the best part was when we were talking about this yesterday, TJ's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to bring my A game here. There are going to be so many ladies. I was like, this is not an event for you. Get it together and be a professional.
I did not say any of that.
No, you didn't. Well, lucky for you, I recorded the conversation. I think it's illegal because I didn't tell you, but I recorded it anyway, and I'll play it for the audience. Just kidding. Is that why you're afraid of me? Because I would totally do something like that. Blackmail purposes? No?
I fear you. Let's just stop there. I don't think that needs to be dug
kidding.
into any further.
I did not record it. But anyway, I thought that was really funny and totally on brand for you.
I'm literally speechless. And for people who've listened to 52 episodes that does not happen very frequently. So before we assassinate my character any further, why don't we get into the episode for today? Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, as usual, and even more so today, I'm super excited to introduce our guest. Our guest today is Dan Cass. He's a Chicago-based comedian, producer, and writer who gets along well with strangers more than he does his own friends.
Fair.
He grew up in a tiny town in Northern California and then moved to Chicago after performing both stand-up and stage acting for 3 years in the Bay Area. Dan, now in Chicago, is producing a bi-weekly show called The Love Below Comedy Show, and he's frequently performed at Zany's Comedy Club, The Laugh Factory, and all of the best venues all over Chicago. I can tell you so far, I just met him today. We've been kind of connecting on social media for a couple months. One of the funniest dudes in the city, and we are so happy to have you, Dan. Welcome to the show.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Dude, why don't you tell us a little bit beyond what I just said about you, about yourself?
I'm just, getting by.
That's all you can really do, right?
Just a normal dude. I get up in the morning, go.
Put your shoes on.
Put my
like
shoes
everyone
on,
else.
tie 'em.
Pants on, one
Pants on,
leg at a time.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Only
Two
sometimes.
legs at a time.
You jump into 'em?
in them.
Like
Wow.
ready to
back
go.
So
handspring
you're like an acrobat.
into your
Oh,
pants.
yeah. I'm completely
Totally.
I am.
Well, that
He's
doesn't
like
make you
the
very normal. That
Simone
makes you pretty
Biles
special.
of mustachioed white comedians.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I got this mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
It's
got
like
it.
an aerodynamics
you
thing.
just got
Brand
it. You
new.
purchased it
Brand
and
new.
stuck it on the sword.
Yeah, it's doing great.
Do you
Keeping
twist it?
the
I feel
kids
like you
away.
should.
It's awesome.
I bet
Keeping
it
the
is.
kids away.
That's all I
It's
wanna
certainly
do.
When you
keeping
hang
the
out around the
parents away.
playground.
They're like, get away from him. Get away
Just
from
like,
him.
leave me alone.
That's so funny. Wait, so tell our audience how old you are. Are you in a relationship?
I
What's
am
your deal?
25 years old. I actually just got broken up with recently.
Same.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, we can bond over that.
Is that why you're glowing right now? Is
That's
it?
why that and the $200 lotion I got it's called Lines, and I quote,
Ooh.
"It better be made of like baby unicorns and I don't know something special like rainbows, because that shit." I was like,
It's called lines.
It's literally yeah. What do you think
because
it's
it's
for?
supposed to give you lines.
It's supposed to take away the line.
Ah, see what I did there?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like a spot treatment. Anyway, so she told me it was supposed to make me glow and not have lines. So at least I'm halfway there.
Good work. So you said you just recently got out of a
Yeah, I
relationship.
mean, kind of, yes and no.
How
So, yeah.
recently is recently?
I mean, like a couple days ago or something.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's mine
That's
was
fresh.
like
That's
3
fresh.
weeks ago.
Just kind of dipped out.
You did or she did?
No, she did.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't ever dip.
You're a
pretty,
loyal
yeah,
guy.
I'm pretty.
You're-
Like,
He's
we gotta
like,
fix it. you
I
know?
commit.
Same, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Well, that's rare for, I would have to say, probably 25.
Yeah.
And a
I feel-
comedian.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably why it keeps happening.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Well, maybe you need to date older
Maybe.
people
I've
who
tried
are
that,
like more
once.
secure.
Have you? How old was older?
Like 3 years older.
That
Oh.
doesn't count. We need to get you like a real smooth looking 55-year-old.
Like a auntie.
Yeah.
No, that's too
Just
old.
wearing like
I want like a
church
60.
dresses.
I want like a
You could do
65.
30.
One-
I
one
think you
foot
could go
in
up
the
to
grave,
30. You
one
could
fist
swing
in
to
the
30.
Oh, I know. If I'm gonna commit,
27.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Like old.
Oh, like
I want to
50?
go to the retirement home right now.
Oh, they would
and pick
totally
a girlfriend
commit.
out.
He's
Villages would love you.
B. Arthur, watch the fuck out. Dan Cass is coming for that
I'm
ass.
coming to the retirement home.
Cass is coming for that ass. 2020.
You should
Think we
totally
did. That's
put
your new
that on
platform.
Yeah.
No, but it was good. I mean, like, yeah, it just kind of two different people with two separate goals and objectives. It's usually what
That's usually what sinks it,
you know?
yeah.
It's like
How long were you together?
like 6 months.
Oh, same. It's like we're in parallel universes.
You guys are, it's literally.
Was it long distance?
No,
Oh, okay. Then not the same.
no, my last one was long distance. That was even longer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I've like been consistently in relationships since like 15 every year.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
What's the longest
Serial
relationship you've
monogamous.
ever had?
Longest one I've ever had is I think 3 years on and off.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your sign?
My sign, Sagittarius.
What's your sign?
I don't know. Well,
is
because
that where this podcast is
No,
going?
I sometimes feel like, I don't know. I'm a commit. Like I'm a Scorpio, and typically we're super, 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 super loyal. And like that is not the only reason I think I like to commit, but I sometimes think like that's always fun to think about.
So, but now that we know what sign you are, we have to ask you what our listeners really want to know. What Sex in the City character are you?
I don't know. I've never seen it.
It's
What?
probably for the
Yeah,
best.
I've never seen Sex and the City. I don't know.
Probably for the
I was
best,
like,
man.
I was like 9.
Yeah.
That hurts. That hurts
I
me.
was like 9. My mom watched it and she made me go upstairs.
I bet she did. Well, you know what's funny? When I was home over Christmas, my nephew, who's 6, was with us, and I was watching Sex in the City, and he
In front of a
wasn't-
6-year-old?
Well, he wasn't in the
Responsible
room.
parenting,
He
Jenna.
wasn't in the room. He was in the other room playing with Legos or whatever.
Yeah,
And what I
right,
didn't
yeah.
realize was he had snuck up behind me and was watching it.
Oh, of course.
And he has this new obsession with boobs.
Same.
At
That shit's
6.
never going away.
Brand new
Well,
obsession.
Yeah, he's
unheard
6.
of. Unheard of.
He's
Doesn't that
6.
sound really young?
No.
Wait, kids are
Oh.
obsessing about boobs
Boobs,
these
dudes?
days?
Yeah,
You do realize,
like-
men, one of the first
At
formative
6?
relationship efforts we ever make in our life is the mother's tit in our mouth.
I know, it's like the
which then
first thing we
bonds
know.
us to tit going forward.
Right, it's like the first thing we know, and then everybody's like, "Why are you staring at him?"
It's like, why do you
this
think
has been ingrained
the
in me?
first 8 months of my life I had a set of them just in my fucking
my
face.
face.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
like, when can I get the next?
I guess that makes sense. But,
Life just becomes a journey of bouncing from pair to pair, looking where you're going to feed next. Okay, I'm
I
editing
mean, for
that out.
someone who doesn't have a kid, 6 feels young to me. Maybe not, but he has this obsession with them, and he'd be like, he'd like say things like, "Mima, his grandma, Mima's boobs are bigger than that, right? Like
Yeah.
not
Mima's,
like in a.
Mima's got great boobs.
he's like-
though.
Mima does have great boobs.
He's like looking like a scientific perspective.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
like measuring.
Exactly.
figure
I think
out.
he's trying to figure out bodies and like
Scientific method.
why
Yeah, smart
they
kid.
have them
Yeah.
and he doesn't have them.
A very
right?
empirical
Yeah.
method. I like
He's
it.
very smart. I could adore him. Anyway, so he apparently came up. There's like a long hallway with rooms off of it. So I didn't know that he was standing behind me, and all of a sudden I hear him go, "Oh, her boobs are way better than Mima's," and I was like,
Wait, whose
what?
boobs?
I don't know. It was like.
We didn't get picture. Your mom's got great boobs.
No,
if there's
it
a
was-
better pair than Mima's out there, I need to see them.
I was watching Sex in the City. Keep up.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Damn.
so whoever was like on the TV, and they're always naked, right? So and I didn't know
Aren't
he
they
was
all?
behind me. So he's like, "Oh, her boobs are way better," and I was like, "What? What is going on?" And then I freaked out and I turned off the TV. But
I would have just asked him, "Why do you think this? How did you come to this conclusion?"
well, you know what? Honestly,
It's like, well, the weight of them,
yeah. He's like, they sit higher.
You gotta get 2 kitchens. So there's always one that's bigger and slightly lower hanging. So the key is
That is true.
You need 2 kitchen scales. You
right,
put one
right.
on each kitchen scale, and you'll notice it's always like a 1.5 to 2 ounce
like that
off
statue,
I
of
don't-
like
I
the
think you
law
could
of
probably
justice,
see it.
equality.
difference.
Yeah.
No, it's
Like with your naked eye. You
Big
don't even
lefty.
need
It's
to-
always the lefty, I
I was
feel
going
like.
to say mine, I think, is the left. And I can always tell
Mine's
by
the
the way
left.
my bra is. Yeah.
But yours is mostly nipple
That's
enlargement,
right.
which I
It
really
is.
like
Yeah, I
about
don't
you,
know why
Dan.
it's bigger. Yeah,
Just
Makes no
all
sense.
nipple.
yeah. It's just
Yeah, it's got
like
like a
one
3-inch
giant areola.
All right,
We should
well,
show that to my nephew, see what he has to
Yeah,
say about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'll
Tell
report
me-
back.
he'll
He's
tell
like,
me it's
what's
wrong.
up with this pale
me
white
it's
guy's
wrong.
milky nipples?
He's like, and what's up with this
like a milk
mustache?
dud.
I saw him at the playground. Just kidding.
It's not good with the golden ratio.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, we're off the rails here. Why don't we jump into the actual
Yeah.
topic of the episode?
Which I'm excited about because I have a lot to say about it.
Yeah, me too. So we figured since, Dan is a bona fide relationship expert, he'd be the guy
Clearly.
to pull in here and have tell some jokes and crack some wise with us
I
about.
want to hear your stories. Do you have stories about?
Oh yeah, dude, I got.
Yeah.
Oh my god, do I got stories? Holy shit, I got
Awesome.
stories where characters change.
Oh, this
People
guy.
just
Really?
like,
Yes.
conflict. It's nuts.
There's a lot of conflict. There
yeah.
it's both a protagonist and an antagonist.
Wow.
Classic
and I'm
plot
both
development.
at the same time.
It's
He's like, there's like 6 chapters to this book. It's
You don't know
great.
what's going on.
yeah, it's like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
Anyway.
there comes a moment in all serious relationships when it's time to meet your parents' parents.
Meet
Wait,
the parents.
wait.
Partners.
Meet your partner's parents. I'm an idiot. In a perfect world, you will instantly connect with these individuals who raised and supported and loved your partner, and sometimes not in the best way possible. These very family members will likely become a major part of your life, especially if you're in this relationship for any sort of length. And if you had kids to the
Shit.
mix, it's
You're
even more bullshit.
stuck forever.
That's why I'm glad that all 3 of us in this room don't have kids. I mean,
Same.
at least, that I know of. So
I wouldn't be surprised if
I think
you
I
have a couple
have
out there.
3.
you might.
Yeah.
Dude, that mustache
Yeah.
is powerful. I got to
It is.
imagine that your sperm can just like
It's
bust through a
like,
brick wall.
Tom Selleck.
His semen
It's
comes
very
out like
Tom
holding an
Selleck
M16.
Okay, the
like.
thing about the
shit.
mustache is that like is that most people don't like it. Most people do not. But there's specific type of person that is looking for a mustache, and it's like that. That is what I'm.
It's
trying
the
to get,
person
you
that
know?
responds
Yeah.
well to the question, who wants a mustache ride?
Right.
I do. Not me personally, but that's what they would say.
We just learned a little bit about you there.
Dan, are we going on a date now?
Yeah, I'm showing up to that event. That's
Sweet. Speed dating. All right, sweet.
But what happens like if you don't actually like your partner's parents? That's the problem.
Then you're like
That's
every
the
other
biggest
person in the
problem.
world.
Well, that's it. I mean, I hear this so much from people. They don't listen, I'm pretty sure, but my ex-in-laws were interesting people, and the mom was like very up all in my business and had a lot to say about a lot of stuff that happened.
They should just listen to this podcast then, and they get all up in your business.
Seriously. And it was really hard. It made it really hard to be married to somebody like that. And like you kind of think it's going to get better. And honestly, it didn't get bad until we got married. So it wasn't like something I could kind of avoid, you know? And I think that's pretty common. I think moms start to think that they're losing their children. So they start to hang on a little bit more.
Yeah.
But we were, when we were talking about this topic, we realized that there are a lot of ways that families can affect relationships. So it's not just like your normal, like getting all up in your business. So the biggest one, of course, is crossing boundaries.
Yeah, and what those boundaries are, you know, and how to have that conversation. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts out there.
It is nuts out there.
So I think the one that kept, when we surfaced this on social media and we asked people like, you know, this question, like if this is something they've dealt with. And I think the biggest thing that kept coming up was them just like the in-laws or the parents, you don't have to be married, but like your partner's parents, just being in your business all the time and having something to say about everything that you do.
Everything.
Every
fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It's just
nuts.
like, get a life, dude.
Seriously, I mean, the hard thing is I'm not a parent, so I can't really say. But when I look at my mother, when she gives advice to my sister, or when I was married, she would give advice, but she would give it to me. That's the difference. So a lot of the stories we heard was.
But you look like you need advice. Like when I look at you, I see the face.
I think most advice is ass, to be honest with you. I think most advice coming from any friend or parent is bias bullshit.
Oh, for sure.
It is.
That is
totally.
Not, they're not in that relationship.
It's generationally biased. It's experientially biased.
Yep.
It's like if they don't know that person, they have. It's like just keep it to yourself.
And I think the problem that comes out of that is that I remember in my marriage, especially when things got bad, I would keep things from my parents. I wouldn't tell them things because I didn't want them to then prejudge. So then I just had to filter things that I would say to them. And then that feels unhealthy to me because they're my parents. I should be able to go to them if I'm upset or whatever, right? And ask for advice. But I didn't because I felt like they would judge him. And my mother is very mouthy. So she would have absolutely had like said something to him about it, you know?
Your mother's mouthy. So what you're saying is like apple tree.
Wow.
I'm just.
You're hurtful.
It's just an observation. I feel like my tone change for 2020 is I'm really going for like observational comedy.
Yeah.
So I'm
Is
just
that
gonna
what
like,
you're doing?
Yeah.
I'm
just picking on people.
I'm like Jerry
for
Seinfeld.
2020, I'm going to be a bully.
I'm like if Big J Okerson and Jerry
make people
Seinfeld
cry.
had an observational bully.
You know?
Dan, I hate you.
I have a really good story about this, but I want to know if you have.
Oh, I have.
Yeah,
a
let's
crazy,
hear yours first, and then I'll tell you mine.
So I fell in love with this girl who was homeschooled.
Ooh.
That was your first mistake.
Dude,
Yeah. I know. No,
bro.
I know.
Ex-wife was homeschooled. Worst mistake ever.
Oh, dude, it's nuts.
Was your super Christian?
Yes, extremely.
Oh,
extremely
too.
Christian.
Yep.
Yeah, exact opposite of me. Never been in a relationship before.
Oh.
I was very experienced, and so I was like very
How
careful.
old were you at the time?
I was 22.
Oh.
And she was 20.
And he was a real
And she had
Lothario
never
at
been in a
22?
relationship
She was
at 20.
homeschooled, and she went to college. She went to the same art school as me.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I still love this person dearly. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
How much an outside force can fuck everything up because
Yeah.
it's like expectations that you didn't know you had to meet.
Right.
Were there.
Yep.
Started dating her 3 days. 3 days. I meet the entire family.
Wow.
Entire family from
Were they
grandpa.
like the Duggars? We say they were like the Duggars.
Oh, they were nuts.
Oh, okay. Were there 30 of them?
Oh, there's a lot.
In the Duggars, one was a
Yeah.
pedophile,
Yeah.
so let's not hope
okay.
there.
Mine
Just
is
like the
that.
Duggars.
Mine
I mean,
is that.
I don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, statistically, probably.
I mean, yeah, with numbers wise.
yeah, if you have like
Yeah.
13, 14
how they
kids,
act.
one of those kids is like really into 5-year-olds.
for sure.
Oh,
Or
terrible.
will
God.
be.
So bad.
No, they
All
were,
right,
just,
go
they
on.
were just they were very up in all our business. Controlling as all can be. Had a tracker like on her phone.
No.
Yeah. And so like when she was like over staying the night, they would be like, "Are you sure? Like you sure you want to do this?"
Are you kidding?
Yeah. And so like in the middle of the relationship, I was like, "I love you so much, but I fucking hate your mom. Like
Yeah.
I fucking hate your mom." And I just said that to her. And she was so sheltered that she went and told her mom.
Oh.
And then I was done.
That's what we call the showstopper.
And the whole family wanted me dead. Like the brother oh man, it was nuts, the amount of threats and shit.
You got threats?
Oh yeah.
How very how very
shit.
Christian of them.
Yeah, I know, no kidding, right?
Right.
Like it was bonkers. And it was just an ideology mix up. Right. I loved the dad. I could not stand the mother. It was just the mother. It was seriously.
It's usually the mothers.
Yeah.
I've never had a problem with dads. Well, that I know of. I mean, everyone that I've ever dated, the problem is usually the mom. I don't know what. Maybe because they're extra protective. They birthed them. It's their baby.
At one point, it was like
that whole
her
thing.
best friend. You know, it was like she's like, "You're taking my best friend away from me."
The mom said that.
Yeah, and I was just like,
dear,
what the fuck? Like,
that's what happens when you're sheltered like that.
Yeah, it's like that's not your role.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, let that be a lesson for you to date someone who has a. I appreciate that you went out of what you weren't were you homeschooled? Okay,
no.
So like what your norm is, right?
It widened your
proud of
perspective
it.
a bit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But now we know maybe that's not a good match.
No,
for you
not at all.
Because there's a lot of differences there.
Oh yeah,
right.
And shit that I just can't fix.
Yeah,
it's just
Well, that's it. Like, how do you do that? And if you do, what happens is it's just like a lot of serious, intense conversations about like how we communicate this to your family. And you don't fucking want that. You don't do that. You can find someone who's a better fit for you, I think.
Who just knows these common sense rules.
Totally.
Like if I say I fucking hate your mom,
Don't go tell your mom.
Don't go tell your mom that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to confide
That's a kind of a circle of trust sort of thing.
Yeah, you know.
Dude, I'll say this though. You talking about her being homeschooled and very Christian. At least she didn't marry her. My ex-wife was a homeschool Christian, one of 6 kids, all biblically named. Like when we dated, she didn't go to church. She wasn't like super demonstrative about her faith in any real way. By about like our second year of marriage, she was going to church like 2 to 3 times a week, listening to nothing but Christian music. Like she got so intense, and like I got along with her family. Like I will say, as a rule, parents like tend to really like me, and they did like me, but there was always this like huge ideological gap. Even when I like asked permission to propose, her dad made a comment about like the Bible says you need to be equally yoked, and they even knew I was an atheist, and I'm just like, oh, this is just real awkward, bro.
Yeah,
like,
I don't even know what I am. You know, I had no idea. They were just like, well, are you Christian? And I was like, well, I don't fucking know. Like, I don't know. I don't focus on that. And I'm not going to like take that away from you by any means. You can do whatever you want. You can worship whatever the fuck you want as long as you're not harming anybody.
And for some people, it's just such a huge part of their identity. And for some people, it just doesn't really matter. And I fall in that second camp. Like, I just don't care that much. But if it's really huge in someone's life and then it's becoming a big part of my life, I'm like... And it was definitely impacted by her family, like pushing her to get back into the church. So definitely that was a boundary cross and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine doesn't have to do with religion, but it has to do with getting all up in my business publicly. Oh. So, God, I really hope nobody.
Like how public?
Okay. So I'll tell you the story. So I had a very good friend of mine. This is when I was engaged. A very good friend of mine came into town.
Guys, Kevin from Bernie Sanders just texted me.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, jeez.
All right, it's big news.
So I was engaged at the time, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We used to live over on Belmont, and I was out of a job. I had just lost my job, which sucked, and I was like super bummed and lonely because I was home all day, and it was like February or something. So it was snowy and gross and like cloudy, and I was like in the worst mood. And I was doing laundry, and my engagement ring was like set that it sat pretty high on my finger, right? So in that apartment, we had to go down the back stairs into like some basement, creepy place to do our laundry. You had to like duck your head down because it was like the doorway was super low, all that stuff. So the stairs were icy. Shit was falling out of my basket everywhere. It was a day. I was having a bad day. And I was throwing stuff into the washer and dryer, and then every time I'd pull something out, my ring would hit. And I was worried that the diamond would fall out, right? So I went upstairs, I threw it in the ring dish, and then continued about my day. And my friend John had called. Hi, John. He listens.
Hi, John.
And he was in town from Maryland, where I'm originally from. And he was in town for work and was like, hey, do you want to meet me for a drink? And I was like, oh my God, yes. Get me out of this fucking house. So my ex-husband knew John. They had hung out multiple times. And I said, I'm going to go get a drink with John. Like, I'll be back in a little bit. And I met him downtown. We had a couple drinks, and I've known this kid since I was in high school. So for me, that's a while, like 20.
Yeah.
I had like a 20-year reunion, right? So I've known him for a very long time. Not at that time. Probably at that time it was like 15 years, but still, like it was a while. And I took a picture. We took a picture, my arms around him, and we took like a picture, right? And I posted it on Facebook, and I was like, love this guy since 19 whatever, right?
Right.
1942.
1942.
Got it.
And
Sounds like a pasta ad.
and what I didn't realize that I had done, because I was like in such a flurry to like get out of the house, I didn't put my ring back on.
Ooh.
And so in the picture, my arm's around him, and you could see that my ring isn't on. And she commented, his mom commented on Facebook and said,
You can be honest and just say you were banging the other dude.
A picture states 1,000 words, Jenna.
Wow.
And when you said you left in a flurry, it made me crave a McFlurry. I'm sorry, but
I was livid.
I bet.
And I went home, and by the time I got home, he had gotten a call from his mother about it.
God, what? Why?
Because she was all up in my shit.
Fucking
And then I went home, and what it did was it caused this. It was the beginning of. He was always a little insecure about my male relationships. He had this. He always thought I was unfaithful, which came out of nowhere. I think it was like his shit that he was projecting on me. Yeah. And so for him, that was all he needed was to get that push from his mother. Sure. And then from there on, it was like there was, I always felt like I had to justify every move I made, but I was, and I explained the story to him. And like, the thing is John knew it. We had hung out a million times with my ex-husband. He knew I was engaged. Like everyone
there was that
was
one
engaged.
threesome. I mean,
it was like, there's
videos.
no,
I know. I mean, swingers got to swing, whatever. Whose dick's that? I don't know.
Dude, it's 2020.
Yeah. Seriously. But there was no reason for it to be a thing.
Is it going to be weird if the name of this episode is Whose Dick's That? I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
That makes a lot of sense. So anyway, it was very awkward. And then from there on, it caused a rift between his mother and I as well. And so flash forward a couple months later, and there was his grandma's like 90th birthday or something that we went to, and the entire family's there. And more people knew about it than I thought, because there was a whole side conversation among the family going on. And one of them, who I adored, like I loved her. She came up to me and she was like, don't get caught up in the drama. She's like, it'll pass. Don't worry about it. She was so sweet about it. She was like, we don't believe that there was ever an issue. Like, we get it. It happens, right? Like, there would be time. The thing is and I don't know how men are about this. I'm probably sure the same, but it was the first thing I did when I got home was take off my rings, because I wasn't. They're annoying and uncomfortable having something on your hand all the time.
Who gives a shit?
I was at home, right? So I should be able to take it off, but I just forgot And honestly, I realized I didn't have it on halfway there in the cab, but then I was like, fuck, I'm not turning around just to put my ring on. Who cares, right? Like, who cares?
Yeah, it's not
this ring isn't a symbol of whether or not I'm going to be faithful
Why are
to you
symbols
or
so
not,
important?
right? Like, that's what I'm saying.
It's the act.
Dude, when I honestly, when I first got married, I just started my career at that point in the beer industry, and I was like throwing kegs a lot. So I literally never wore my ring. And my ex-wife didn't care, family didn't care, no friends cared. Nobody ever said a word about it. But there were like 2 women I worked with that talked about it fucking constantly. It's like, dude,
you didn't?
I never wore my wedding ring.
Oh, that I don't like. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
Dude,
like,
there's levels.
Well, here's why I
just don't like jewelry. It was like uncomfortable. It just didn't feel good.
I get that, and I hear that my dad doesn't wear a wedding ring. They've been married for 50 years, and it
true
makes
player
me,
right there, old man Grish.
It makes me mad, because I think like you're right. Like if you forget it, fine, but I think that it's nice. It's nice to have, right, to show that there's a commitment there, but. Like if you forget it, or like, you don't wear it a couple days in a row, or like you're at the gym or whatever, that's different.
Right. It's a nice thing, but it's like not everything.
It's not everything. No. But I never understood that. Like, why you wouldn't do it.
Why you wouldn't wear it?
Yeah.
I just didn't like it, man. I never wore jewelry in my entire life.
Dude, I get it.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, like, I get it. It's like, it's a weird thing put on us. Yeah. It's like, wear your wedding ring. Otherwise, it looks like you're up to some shit.
Yeah. And I
well, also for
I gotta
like single women.
remind you that I'm faithful.
Yeah. And it's
well, true.
Have some security.
My Facebook says married to.
A good point.
Facebook says married to, everyone knows. Come on, you don't need to.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
Facebook's
true.
way more like
It's official, man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
way more official.
totally.
Yeah,
Than
Way
wedding
more
ring.
official than a
Unless you're gonna
wedding.
tell me they're like
Totally.
wedding
The
license
strangers
matters.
can like,
Yeah.
like screenshot that shit.
That's
They
very,
can.
very
That is
true,
on
especially
document.
for an influencer like TJ.
Right.
This is going to be the first
Everybody in your
episode
DMs
that I
is gonna
actually.
check. They're all
Totally. They're like,
checking.
but that's the thing. But that's the flip side of that is that I know a lot of women who find married men attractive. And so
Yeah.
it's almost like a magnet.
So
It's
I was
like
making
you,
myself
damned
less
if you do,
attractive
damned if
by
you don't.
not
Yeah.
wearing it. It's like bloody chum in the water if you have that on.
Kind of
Yeah.
is.
No, I'm
sometimes.
not gay, but I'd sleep with a married man just because I want to, like, you know.
Just because you
I
want
want to
feel
affect
secure.
something, you know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to put my mark on the world.
Totally.
Plus,
Ruin that
plus, every
family.
once in a while, you just got to feel, man.
You know, yeah. I want some kids.
That's so funny.
Like, even if I'm assuming
That
some
aren't
ones that already
mine.
exist, yeah. Oh, hey kids, you're mine now. I'm your new mommy.
Yeah. I want it to be a progressive thing too. You know, I don't want to just do that like old shit where I like take the wife away. I want to take the husband.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not even
real
gay.
progressive. Dude, gay. So 2019, we're all post all of that. It exists on a spectrum. I say all the time. I'm only like
But-
93% straight. Whatever.
Understood.
This is true. You do say that a lot. Yeah. Anyway, the other boundary that kept coming up in conversations with people was like an actual physical boundary. Like when you live in like a certain radius of family members.
The pop in.
Yes.
The fucking
That's
nobody likes
the
to pop in.
worst.
Hey,
Yeah.
Uncle Dave here.
You're like making out
Oh,
in
you
the
guys
hallway.
were just running out to dinner. Well, what? You got a minute to talk? It's like, well, we're sitting here in our fucking jackets and the car's
Yeah.
running, you asshole. No, Uncle Dave.
Yeah. And then, you know, the one listener wrote in about, well, exactly this, like they would pop in, like the father-in-law or something
Sure.
would pop in and just randomly and give advice. Like,
Not even the
about
father-in-law.
dog
It's
or
a
whatever.
fairly new relationship. They've only lived together for a handful of months, and almost immediately he was like stopping by all the time, like letting himself in when they're
Oh,
not home to
whoa.
Like that, like when you let yourself into my home, no boundaries.
No
like
way,
that's
dude.
not okay.
I sometimes let myself into Jenna's house.
But God,
I have.
I actually believe that. If I'm being honest,
Have you
you're
guys seen
creepy
You?
enough.
Have you guys seen You?
my favorite show.
No.
You could totally be that guy minus the murder part. I don't know if you've got the stomach for murder, but you've got the mind for crazy.
Just got to commit.
So you just got to commit.
Guys, I got the mind for crazy,
Yeah,
but
commit.
not the stomach for murder.
Well, you're really good with social media, so I feel like you could get down on that part, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know who's really, really good with social media?
Not me.
Dan Bot.
That's right. Dan Bot is great.
Yeah.
So
tell us
why do
about
we?
that's
Yeah,
funny.
what's up with Dan Bot?
Well, whenever my heart gets broken, I like to bounce. You know, I
Yeah.
don't like to be on that shit.
Yeah.
Because you become like obsessive.
yeah,
100%.
You know, and
Yep.
you're like worried about like what they're posting, whatever, like what the
100%.
pressure is of like liking shit.
Right.
So I just made a bot that just posts my stuff for me, and I'm finding a way to like actually, you know, make them like a little more authentic. To where
and the
it gets,
bot's
like, a
not
little-
just you.
Love
Yeah, no,
it.
it's not just me.
Okay.
He hates me. I
Oh.
programmed him to hate me
Oh.
and his existence.
Wow.
Is this the beginning of Skynet?
I don't know. I don't know yet. We're gonna see where this goes. It's
Wait,
gonna be
so
a
what does that
slow
mean?
burn.
Like, what does it post?
Oh, it'll be like it always says I'm a bot.
Oh, okay.
And then it says like come to this show. And then I
okay.
hate him.
That's literally
That he makes
exactly
me
what
do
it
this
says.
shit.
That's really funny.
It's dope.
Yeah, that's smart. Actually, that is true.
It keeps me off. It's great.
That's really smart. Although, you know, the one thing I learned from TJ, well, I've learned a lot from TJ about breakups, but one of the best things he ever said to me was very wise. It was the opposite of love is indifference and not hate, right? So like if you're on
I'm so deep.
if you're on like social media, right? Because my immediate reaction is to say, fuck you, I'm gonna block you. You don't get
Sure.
access to me. We
Right.
broke up, you broke up with me or whatever. Like you can't see what's going on. You just gotta guess. And I think I thought the not knowing was worse. Like
Oh yeah.
right, because there's no way to check up on someone.
Yeah.
But he actually made a really good point. He was like, why block them? Let them see what you're doing. Let them see that you're living life without them. And it's indifferent. You're indifferent.
But not intention. I'm not saying like make it appear better
No,
than
no,
this.
no, but, like,
if
be
you
indifferent.
remove them, you've sort of been like, you're affecting me and I
Yeah.
need to do this. Don't even give them that fucking
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't like playing that game, you know? I'm
Well,
so
there's also
honest.
that.
That's the fucked
Yeah.
up thing. That's why I keep getting dumped is because I'm fucking honest about shit. I'll go like
That
this
will get you
hurts.
dumped.
Yeah, I'm like this
Don't
hurts.
change that.
I'm not going to. I
'Cause
don't give a
older you
shit
get-
if I'm
Bro.
alone for the
Yeah.
rest of my life.
The best
You won't
ratio
be.
is like 80% honest.
Yeah, I mean like Like I'll just like, you know, if I want sex, then I'll play that game.
No,
But, like,
you look.
otherwise,
No,
you know,
just
like, it's
do I look
not-
fat in
not
these
for
jeans? No,
relationships.
you look great in those jeans. That's
No,
little-
I mean I don't even comment on that. I don't even
Smart
do that.
man.
I don't even do any of that. I will not. If a girl's asking for any of that kind of stuff, I'm just like, you
do not participate in the thirst
that
trap.
You look nice.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah.
Well, she wants you to say yes. You look nice.
I don't give a fuck. No, it's not about like that. It's like, of course you look nice. I'm with you.
Well, that should be your answer. Of course, you look nice.
Yeah, and I
but
say
if
that
you feel
sometimes.
uncomfortable,
I'll totally say
like,
that. And
maybe
if
you
like, don't
change.
get me wrong, if
What would
girls,
Dan
if girls
Bot
need
say
like
about it?
comfort, like if they're like feeling insecure about shit, I'm always there for that.
Yeah.
And I'll reassure them
Yeah.
if that kind of thing's going on. But like I've never gotten a girl to be like, do these jeans look nice?
Yeah.
Or any of that stuff. Because
You don't strike me as the type of dude that looks for the type of girl who says that.
I don't know what kind of girl I like.
I like honesty, though. I think that's important. I think more men should be honest.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think more
about their
people in
feelings,
general should
about
be
their
honest.
feelings.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But it gets us, you know, like there's a reason why they're not sometimes. And
Right.
It's because it gets
Does
us
it, though?
kind of.
I mean, I think you're dating the wrong people. I think
Probably.
if you're dating someone who is emotionally mature and evolved, maybe you're too
Where are those people?
right here.
Oh yeah, is that why you're in a successful relationship right now?
The reason mine
Shots
broke up.
fired.
The reason mine broke up was exactly for this reason.
Sure.
Okay.
It couldn't
Fair.
communicate feelings and talk honestly and openly and be vulnerable, which
Yeah.
I think is honesty. Being honest with someone is being vulnerable,
Right.
and that's really hard for people.
In the last person I was with, whenever they felt upset, rather than communication, they would
Disappear.
Yeah, they disappear.
Exactly.
And I was just like, you know, there's nothing you can do
Yeah,
to fix anything if you dip.
That's
100%.
And like comedy's taught me a lot about like love. Because if you
Oh,
got like
really?
because if you got a joke that sucks, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it will get better if you fucking figure it out.
Totally. If you work on it,
You can't
right?
just
And
have
revise
like this true love or great joke out of nowhere.
yeah. It's like the best jokes
That's a
in the
good
world.
point.
Generally, were not like fully fleshed out, like incredibly formed, perfect jokes. The second they're like,
Yeah, there is
thought of.
no hilarious bit that did not fail.
Yeah.
It does
Totally.
not fucking exist.
Right.
It doesn't
Totally.
exist.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a really great analogy.
It really is.
It's
And
not.
that's
gonna
and
use
it's
that.
super good because most of our dating lives are a fucking joke. So
yeah. They're hilarious a lot of the times.
So fair. So the other thing that kept coming up with our audience was basically actually the story that you told, which was like forcing these family expectations on people,
Oh, yeah.
which happens a lot. You see it a lot of times with like, if you're involved with people outside of like your parents' group. So meaning like people outside of their socioeconomic class, races, religion, all that kind of stuff. So this was a big issue with Rebecca. Remember?
Uh-huh.
She and her. So we had a guest on, and she was great. We talked. She was, what did she call herself?
age gap relationship.
Age gap relationship.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like
Gibson.
16
It was
years.
pretty. It was a pretty
She was
big
older
gap.
than him, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and he was Polish, right? I think.
Yeah.
And there was his parents were like not into it. She already had kids, so they were like, "Aren't you gonna want kids? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna raise them?" It was like a whole thing.
Does she know
And
how
they
easy it is
pushed
just
and
to scoop up a kid off the street? And then that's your
grab
kid.
'em. Just grab
I mean, Dan's up here just wrecking homes and stealing
Grab 'em,
husbands.
you know?
I'm your mommy now. I mean,
They
if
don't
he
even
can
know.
do it,
They're
anybody
gone
can.
half the time. They don't even know.
Yeah. And then eventually that was the demise of their relationship, I think, is
Yeah.
what she had said when
That
we were
makes sense.
talking. But I mean, I can't imagine. It's like relationships are hard enough as it is. You deal with so much shit together, just one-on-one,
Mm-hmm.
that like you add in all these outside forces and it's just kind of unfair. Same thing can happen with friends too, right?
absolutely.
Like if your friends don't like your significant other,
Dude, fuck friends.
well,
when it
that's
comes to
kinda what
that
I
stuff.
said.
Wait, like have sex with your friends?
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, it depends on the friend. And it depends. But what I'm saying is, I don't hang out with anyone that is constantly telling me their opinions about my relationship.
That's probably unsolicited
you.
advice is the
Not.
fucking worst, man.
Yeah, and I don't give that advice to other people. I'll shit on them sometimes if it's like kind of a joke.
Yeah, a little
Or it's like
roasting.
you guys are like,
Yeah.
you got to figure that out. But
I
do what you want. Do what makes you happy.
I am queen of that to TJ mostly. And he hates it. He
Bro,
gets so mad at me.
She gives me so much dating advice, and I'm always like, Jenna, I'm like, you project your limited perspective
Well, I mean,
on everyone.
Is she like giving you advice on like how to like actually date, or is she
No.
like telling you your significant other sucks? You know, because there's like a difference between like, hey,
It's-
do this better, and I don't like him.
It's
or whatever.
sometimes
I
a
would
little
never
more.
say I don't like them.
Yeah.
But what I will say is I don't think this might be healthy, or
Oh, that's fair.
maybe this isn't a good idea, or maybe you should approach it like this.
That's fair.
He doesn't
Yeah.
like to hear it though.
Well,
And then
if
he
it's
gets mad at me.
unsolicited. So guys, if your significant other's parents are coming to you and giving you advice like Jenna gives me, put up the fucking wall. Boundaries, guys. Build that wall.
Boundaries are so important.
Build that wall. Trump 2020. Just kidding.
Well,
JK, guys.
can we
Fuck
dig
Trump.
into that a little bit? Because now, I don't know, because I feel like, so what you're saying is no, what I was saying about the families was that they're saying it to the significant others.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not going to a person that you date and say, hey, you shouldn't be acting like this, right?
That's
the
true.
difference.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's
I'm
a
giving
bigger
you the
boundary.
advice
Yeah.
because you're a friend,
Yeah, but I don't even do
and I
that.
care about you. So I don't
So
know.
what we're
What's that
saying here is that I
boundary?
need to be a
What's
better friend with Dan than with Jenna.
My boundary is that I like to be around people that have the confidence to independently, think on their own. And I'm not in that relationship. I don't see what's going on. I don't see
Totally.
both perspectives. I don't see my friend's perspective besides what they're telling me, and I don't see the other person's perspective at all.
Right.
Really at all. And so to give advice on something that you don't see the whole story, it's like critiquing a movie that you've only watched halfway through,
Right.
or any of that kind of. And I don't like fucking with that. Now, if something is critical, like if she comes in, say I'm with my buddy, and she comes in and she's just yelling at waitstaff or something, she's just like, I need a table, or like some shit. And I'm like, okay, this needs to
Yeah.
stop. This is ridiculous.
And that
Get
voice
out.
would be strike number 2
Yeah.
also.
Oh yeah, the voice would be,
I need a table.
I love you. It's just like crazy grandma.
Like, who is are your friends having sex with? Is that a pterodactyl? What the fuck?
I also think, though, it's probably varies per person, right? Like, I want my friends. Like, the other day I was talking to Daniel about my breakup, and he was after he gave me advice, I goes, sorry, that was probably a little too harsh, was it? And I was like, yeah, it was super harsh, but like, I needed to hear it.
Sure.
And I know who to talk to for what, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I know who's going to just be there and be like, oh, it'll be okay, and not
Right.
really give me advice. Or I know people are going to tell me, like, Daniel, what's what,
Right,
right?
right.
And so depending on my mood and what I feel like I want to hear, I know who to talk to. TJ, you should know better. You know what kind of advice I'm going to give you. So maybe you just don't tell me if you don't want to hear it.
Fair. Never talking to Jenna again.
Yeah, and I hear that.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
Like-
and I'm guilty of that too.
Because I also think, like, if people can't tell you what's really going on or share a perspective with you, then what kind of friend are they?
Right, and keep in mind what I'm saying, like, is very circumstantial. It always
Right.
depends
Well,
on the
of course,
circumstance.
right.
There's like I have asked for advice by so many people. But the thing that I know when I ask for advice is I know that I can, eat the fruit, spit out the seeds. It's like
Yeah.
what works, what doesn't.
Right.
Totally.
yeah.
This person's saying this, but they don't know that this happened, so that doesn't work.
Totally.
And it's if people could do that, then it would be great.
Yeah.
But most people can't fucking do that
Yeah.
because they don't know it exists.
Right.
Because their whole life they're being told how to live by their family or their friends.
Right.
100%. Yeah.
That's a good analogy. What was it again?
Oh, my least favorite acting teacher told me that. No, I love her. Eat the fruit, spit out the seeds.
I like it.
Huh. I like that too.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to make it mean more things than it actually means and then just use
You're
it like
gonna make it
broadly.
He's going to get really uncomfortable in a minute. It's fine. Okay, so the last thing that we saw was manipulating people with money. So this has never happened to me before, but like, let's say your significant other comes from money, and that's a definite way to control anything in society is money.
Absolutely.
So imagine being married to someone. I feel like that would only happen. I know. Did you hear him snoring
That
in the
dog just
microphone?
snored so loud.
Yeah, sorry guys. But can you imagine like being married to somebody like that? I mean, I would like probably the money part wouldn't bother me so much unless they were holding it over your
You're
head.
doing so horrible here in the Ivory Tower.
Well, one day I'm gonna have to retire, and I'd like to take someone's retirement. I'm just kidding.
That's the whole point of the podcast. Is I remember when we used to talk almost every episode about finding Jenna a man to lock down forever. So guys,
No, now I'm on a hiatus. Don't send me anyone. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm super over it
Send me
for
the money.
at least for like 6 months.
yeah, send them
I
to
need a minute.
Dan. They're gonna have to
Just
slide
send her
in his
money.
Gmail. Though.
Yeah,
Send
just
her
send me
money. Just send
money
her
from my 401k. That would be great. I'd appreciate it.
You're ridiculous.
But as I don't know, has that ever happened to you? Like, I don't know much about your ex's
No, I think
family.
you know me, as we joked around earlier. A previous guest, Kenyon Adam Chick, he made jokes about my socioeconomic background growing up. Being a poor kid, and I feel like because of that, I have this like built-in apprehension when I've been in relationships with people who come from means, or with like I dated someone not that long ago who made probably like 6 to 7 times the annual salary that I made. And I was like really uncomfortable by it. And not only was she successful, her parents were incredibly successful. And I like dreaded meeting her family. I was like, I don't think I could be comfortable. So even if they're not, that's such a like a weird fraught way to look at it, because like me personally, I have that apprehension around it. So if they did try to impose some power or manipulation through money, I would literally fall apart. I would be like, stop it, I'm poor.
No, I get gifts are tricky,
Yeah.
Gifts are tricky. Well, yeah, but I also feel like that kind of falls into a sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but I'm thinking of like love languages.
It's what we do.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking about when you were saying that, like love languages. So some people's way of showing that they care is buying you a present, or like, and I grew up that way. It's not my love language actually, but my mother used to do that. So she'd scream and yell, and she'd make me feel shitty as a kid, and then turn around and buy me commemorative mugs of the royal wedding. Do you know what I mean? Like her way of solving things was always to buy a present. And I used to do it a lot because it's sort of what I knew. And then I've been enough therapy to kind of fix it. But it was something that I would just do because I just assumed everyone did that. That's how you solve the problem.
If I'm ever mad at you and you want to buy me a present to solve it, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah, but you're not holding it over their head though,
Yeah.
No, well, that's true.
I've had people give me gifts and they're like,
well, remember that thing I got
like
you,
the
or when I
parents,
did this thing?
Like that, the parents, the controlling parents, like bought me like really expensive like equipment, like microphones and shit for like videos,
Yeah.
We're supporting your, thing.
Well, that's nice though.
It is at
and
first.
in their mind, it probably was just a nice thing to do.
Right. And then, but it's like, that is like, this is like $500 worth of shit.
Right.
And I've known you for a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
intense.
aggressive. Maybe they were just excited that their daughter was finally dating someone because they wanted to marry her off and get her out of their house.
They did. They 100% did. That was a big thing too. Like you're saying with finances.
Yeah.
They're like, you can't financially support.
Oh, really?
And I fucking hate money. I absolutely hate money,
That's weird. You have a
What does
Gucci
that
suit
mean?
on right
How
now.
do you survive without it?
Oh, I mean, like I have enough to get by.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like I know
He's like, ramen
it's
is
it's
cheap.
a requirement, but I don't like love brushing my teeth, Like
Sure.
I just do it.
Sure, I
to
get
like
it.
where I can be comfortable
Yeah, I get it.
and a little healthy.
A little healthy. That's not too healthy. Just a little.
I don't want to be too healthy. People who are too healthy are fucking annoying.
Dude,
True,
you look
yeah.
like a finely tuned machine.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
Yeah, like a chewed up piece of wire.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I think at a certain point, right? Like if you're with someone, if you're in a marriage, I will say when we got married, my mother-in-law backed off. She actually was great. I think for a minute she didn't think I would make it there with him. And so maybe that's why she wasn't so great with me in the beginning. And then when she realized that like, well, now they're stuck with me because we're married. Jokes on
Well, not that
me.
stuck.
I know, not that stuck.
Until he's like,
Until
put
he's
her
like,
in
I
the
don't love you
recycle bin
anymore.
over
Yeah.
here.
But so she loosened up a lot once we got married.
Okay.
And I could feel it. It was like, honestly, like the day after our wedding, it was almost like I could feel her back off.
Yeah.
It was very weird. And I remember mentioning it to him, being like, your mom's being so nice to me. I don't know what's going on. This is very weird. But she was never like terrible. I don't want to make her sound terrible. She was always nice to my face, but like I knew that there was something there, right? But once we got married, she got a lot better. But I think the issue is like, especially if you marry someone like that and then you're kind of stuck in this family that doesn't treat you the way that you want to be, how do you fix it? Right? What's your next steps to fixing it? And I think the first thing is obviously to discuss it and to create the united front.
Oh, I've had that.
That's the hard part, is to
so
create
hard.
the united front.
Yeah, because you know what you can't have if you really want to have a united front? You can't have your girlfriend going back to her mom and being like, my boyfriend fucking hates you.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's
That sinks the
Exactly.
united front
it
immediately.
started
Totally.
that conversation too.
Yeah.
I was in a room with her, so I showed up to their house because they wanted to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I get out of the car, and the brother is screaming his fucking head off, like going nuts in my face and shit. And I'm just like taking it because I don't care. I'm
Yeah,
just like, whatever.
not a confrontation.
No. I'm just like, all right. And then I go in and I sit down and they're talking to me about what I said and all this different kind of stuff. And it was like watching, like, it was like this crazy interview, you know, that I didn't sign up for. And I was like on trial and shit.
Yeah.
And she's like, there is a witness not able to say anything, you know? And it was just like fucking, it was so intense. But there was no point to it because it wasn't about joining forces. It was about telling me to fuck off.
Right.
Yeah.
And if no one is willing to adapt or change, then nothing will work.
Yeah, people have to like come to the table willing to like have their mind changed and be open to like the other's perspective, and like you have to state your boundaries and be like, okay, this is what I need. And then maybe they're like, oh, well, just so you know, like this is the reason why I was doing it. And then maybe it's like, oh, that's actually different than why I thought.
Yeah.
Then maybe it's something that's like okay or not okay. But having those conversations and keeping kind of an open mindset, I think is going to be one of the best ways to have that united front.
Yeah.
And when you do it, right, like I think it's important to use like we language, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Like the royal we,
that was
in
like,
honor of William and Catherine.
That was in my scenario the situation that I gave you guys earlier. He basically just went and was like, she's very upset that you posted that on Facebook. You're causing problems in our relationship. We've been arguing now. And that puts it all on me, right? So instead of saying like, it also bothered me, Mom, that, you know, whatever. It should have been like, we talked about this after we saw this, and this is an issue.
No kidding.
And it makes me really uncomfortable that you did this and got into my relationship.
No,
like
absolutely.
that,
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think, right? Because then otherwise it makes me look like the asshole, which is never the way you want to look like to somebody that
and
you care about.
why do people got to do that? You know, like it makes no fucking sense.
Well, because they're
the asshole,
pussies.
Jenna.
That's usually what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
He was
they
a
don't
pussy.
want to deal.
He did not want to rock the boat with his family.
Right.
He did not want to
Same.
seem. Or the flip side of that, it was probably a little bit of that. It was also probably a little bit of deep down, he was upset about it too.
Sure.
And didn't know how to say he was upset about it. So he kind of took her side probably a little bit.
Why
on it.
can't people just fucking talk? Just
don't know.
say the shit.
I don't
It's
know.
so much better than just
so
like
much
letting
better.
it.
I know. And honestly, it's like a pick your battles thing too, right? Like you don't have to talk about everything, I guess, but like that's a big deal. And you know, when you have feelings like that then just kind of, they take root.
Right.
And then a lot of arguments that happened from then on always came back to this situation.
Sure, right. And then they take that one situation and then they fabricate a conclusion that is not there. I said I fucking hate your mom. And then the conversation became about how serial killers and abusers have a habit of swearing.
No.
Yeah,
Are
dude.
you serious?
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Oh, then I'm
Let's
clearly
just
a
jump
serial
this
killer.
Here,
Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know who also has a habit of swearing?
Me.
Highly intelligent people.
Oh.
Thank you.
No, that's
Yeah.
literally
Fucking-
like every long-term study around the behavioral patterns of highly intelligent
Right, and
people includes swearing.
I mean, I don't know about intelligence, but I will say with,
You're brilliant, bro.
Thank you. Well, I will say with my swearing, it's just to get rid of that block. You know?
Yeah.
Because when you don't swear, you're holding shit back.
Yeah.
And then it's not
It's like a
real
fart.
truth. Yeah, exactly. And it's a really fun fart.
Yeah.
Because farts are not very fun. You know, like that shit smells.
Farts are not fun if you're alone.
No,
they're
I don't
fun.
like. No, they're all right.
No.
The
No, I
release,
don't think
just like
Yeah, I mean, like it's,
Really?
yeah.
We're going to go there every time.
But like saying fuck, like that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know.
Especially when you're mad. Yeah, like when you're mad.
And you're mad. And also, if somebody said, I fucking hate you, if someone said that about me, my first reaction is, what can I
Why?
do to fix this?
right.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, you said the F word and then hate you, motherfucker. Like, what?
Really? Is that how the conversation went?
Oh, the
Like, she
conversation
wasn't
was,
like, why do you
did
hate
this.
her? Why
No,
do
it was nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. It wasn't why did you come to this conclusion. Even when I brought up points, well, I said I fucking hate you because you have a tracker on your daughter's phone and every time we try to have sex, she cries and thinks she's going to hell. That's why. That's why I hate you.
Yeah.
You know, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry that
Yeah.
you fucked her up so bad that she can't enjoy herself.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's, yeah.
It's nuts.
And what sucks about that is that she's going to run into that over and over and over again unless she finds someone who's
She'll figure it out. She's brilliant. She's brilliant
Yeah.
and lovely, to be honest with you. Like, I love this person dearly.
Brilliant
Even as-
doesn't necessarily mean you're emotionally.
True. And I don't know about
Stable.
that. I don't
Yeah.
know if she is or not about that. But
Did you just raise your hand? TJ just raised his hand.
I'm
He's
both.
like, yeah, I'm brilliant, but I'm not
arrogant
stable.
enough to know that I'm brilliant, while also knowing that I am a fucking
Yeah, I'm not
wreck.
emotionally.
Oh no, self-awareness is one of my strongest suits. So anybody out there who deals with me on a regular basis, I'm saying it right now for everyone. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair. And then, of course, boundaries. We've talked about this, obviously, over
Even
and
just
over
now.
and over and over and over. In anything with relationships, friends, significant others, all that good stuff. And I think that's really all you need. Like, if you can communicate your feelings and you can set boundaries, I really think that you've got a chance to like have a healthy relationship
Absolutely.
in so many ways, not just dealing with significant others' parents, but in any way.
Right.
But those seem to be really, really hard for people.
Oh, entirely.
I'll
I don't
say
know
this
why.
though: it's not a deal breaker. You know, it sucks. It's better if you get along with their parents, but many people do not get along with their parents.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and don't feel like your relationship is doomed because of that. Yeah,
Right.
like, is it an obstacle? Is it a hurdle? Certainly, it is. But you can be just like me and be different from your spouse and divorce her in 5 years. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, like, there's some people out there, like I love my parents, don't get me wrong. But, like, if my significant other had a problem, like, if they're like, I don't like your parents, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
I get
whatever.
it.
Not
Well,
everybody's
I
gonna love
understand.
everybody.
Yeah, and then there are ways to deal with that,
Yeah,
right? So it's
how do we
like,
fix this?
how do we fix this? Maybe it's you don't have to come to everything. Like
Right.
I see my if
You
I
guys need
see
to
my parents
talk.
weekly, right?
Yeah.
You can come every other week, or whatever it may be.
What are they doing to piss you off? You
Right.
know, like what is happening? Why are you
Totally.
uncomfortable?
Totally.
Let's fix it.
Yeah.
100%. And I think the thing that we're not addressing here that's also important is that as people in these relationships with partners who have tough families, you have to also sometimes put yourself in the parents' shoes.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think that's sometimes hard to do. So I think sometimes we're just, I know in the instance that I was saying earlier, I just was pissed. I was like, what the fuck?
Same.
But not to put all their shit out there, but the dad had cheated on the wife.
Not
at
to
some
put their
point.
shit out there.
But I'm gonna.
Here it comes, motherfuckers.
I mean,
HD quality.
yeah.
This is spilling the tea premium content.
So I think she was a little sensitive to that, right? So
sure.
from the glasses that she was viewing the world, right, with like in her world, that is a sign of it. And so I understand that.
Right.
And it made me a little more sympathetic. I was angry at first, but then when I really dug into it, I could be a little sympathetic and understand.
I
where
had
it
a
came from.
similar experience. The mom that was fucking up my love life was a partier and then then reborn Christian.
Interesting.
And I was like taking it in the perspective, okay, this person has made mistakes in past relationships.
Yeah.
They're always talking about it, how like this person was dating someone and they broke their heart and they don't want that to happen to their daughter. But when that was addressed, that was completely denied as a possibility to why this is happening. And so at that point, you're just kind of like, well,
Yeah.
you
Damn.
don't want to open that wound.
If you could really
Yeah.
try to be less of a heartbreaker out there, we'd all really appreciate it.
I just kind of think like, these people are their parents. They care about their kids. They want their kids to be happy and
Yeah.
have healthy relationships. So I don't think that it necessarily always comes from a bad place.
Right.
It just comes
No,
from
not
an
at all.
unhealthy place.
Absolutely.
That needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is all.
it's basically the same exact phenomenon around why if my dog doesn't like a girl, they can't stick around. I'm
Really?
protective of
They
my
can sniff
dog.
them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, that's usually this guy. This guy will bite people he doesn't like, I've noticed.
My dog is so fucking old, dude.
How old?
So is mine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but like how old?
Oh, like, I mean, he's like 12, but he just like is like deaf as shit.
Oh.
Huge.
Is
He's
he-
fat?
Is he snoring on a table?
I mean, he
Next to
can't
your
get on a
microphone?
table. He's just he'll just be snoring. I mean, I'm not with him. He's like in California right now.
Oh,
but, yeah,
okay,
but he's
okay.
pretty good.
And I think that's really it. I think that's
Yeah,
kind of the gist of it.
I think like every other topic we've ever talked about, to put a bow on it, communication and boundaries, have that shit set up. Be a united front with your partner. Don't be afraid to have the conversations. If you're uncomfortable, if you feel like something's not working for you, be your best advocate.
Yeah.
Like I get the desire to not want to rock the boat and to kind of
Sure.
just go along.
But stop being so fucking selfish,
Yeah.
like deal with it.
Yeah.
Jump in the conflict. All right.
Yeah.
You not doing that is just making it worse.
That's actually,
Yeah.
you know what? That might
Jump
be
in the
my
conflict.
20,
That's a good-
20 mantra. Jump
Yeah.
into the conflict.
You got it.
Well, that's where all the true like growth and work happens is when
Right.
you do jump into
And you can do it in a
and
kind
you're
way.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Conflict is not always, sad or angry.
Totally.
It can be like calm.
Totally.
How come the 5 most like insightful people who've come on our show have all been like 23 to 25-year-old comedians?
I've actually noticed that too. I don't know if it's a generational thing, like what you guys are living through, but
I think it's like emotionally in tune plus smart plus weird equals like
Thanks, dude.
depth that belies their age.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm just looking for someone to love me. That's pretty much all
same,
that
man.
I need.
Guys,
Same.
so
That's why I have dogs.
he's currently on social media silence, and you will be greeted only by Dan Bots. But when you are back on Instagram, what is your Instagram handle?
It is dancasscomedy.
That's right. I did just tag a post in it, so watch our stories right now.
We got Block Party coming up, Cards Against Humanity Theater on February 1st, if this is out before then.
It is. Cool. It's going to be coming out on Monday, so why don't you tell everyone just a little bit more about what you're doing, what you're working on, where they can come see you coming up, and all the places they can find you online.
So right now, I'm actually producing 2 shows. I produce a bi-weekly show at Love Below. It's Beermiscuous. It's it's great. You go into like a basement, and it's just like this cozy. Like then the beer is just phenomenal. There's so many different drafts. This is every first and third Thursday of the month.
Okay, cool.
And then we have a Block Party. My buddy Antonio Kareem and I co-produce I think it's like every 2 months.
Future Menage-A-Pod guest on Antonio Kareem.
Yeah, he's great. And it's at Cards Against Humanity Theater. It's a variety show. We get 3 major comics. We got Jerry Tran, Kristen Toomey, Jamal Gachon.
We love her.
Ooh,
yeah,
Kristen and Jamal, I know both of them, and they're both like fucking hysterical.
They're hilarious.
She's really funny.
Yeah, and then Antonio and I write videos and sketches, and we put them in between, and we get a music act.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, we're gonna have
fun.
to check
We'll
that
definitely
out.
check it out.
It's free too.
Oh, even better.
And if
You're
you
saying
donate,
all the right things.
If you donate, it goes to this support group on the South Side.
That's awesome.
And where again is that located?
It is at Cards Against Humanity Theater. I think it's 1551 West Home Street.
Okay, so we'll make sure to tag that in the show notes, and make sure you're following Dan at dancasscomedy on Instagram. And anything else, Jenna?
That's all I've got today.
All right. Thank you so much, Dan Cass, for coming and talking to us.
It's amazing.
Been a pleasure. Guys, if you want to find out more about Menage-A-Pod, head on over to our Instagram at Menage-A-Podcast. Beat that drum. Go to Menage-A-Podcast. Do that shit. I'm going to come out. I'm going to find you. I'm going to force you. I'm going to rip phones from hands. I'm going to subscribe people. I'm going to do it.
We just talked about boundaries and stuff, but I'm totally down with that. Yeah, if it's for our benefit, then that's cool. I'm good.
I am a big man.
No
I have a well-developed beard.
Boundaries, not being Batman.
That's
I'll subscribe to our podcast. Until next time, share us in your IG stories, retweet us, share the Facebook postings, and find other ways to tell a friend about Menage-A-Pod. And of course, good luck out there.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.